bummy today. You was bony and looking too funny today. I don't care, niggas still make change. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Chat with Cheeze podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheeze, and y'all already know the motto: no gimmicks, only the real. This is episode 49. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. Y'all know what I need from y'all. Smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, please do not forget to like and share the content when it is dropped. Also, like this video when it dropped. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I told y'all, I don't know why, but for some reason, every day, every time I'm deciding to shoot my episodes, we get some breaking news. And today was a good one. I was doing my homework, doing my notes, and boom, here we go. I had to switch everything up on the fly. So after their Game 6 loss on Saturday, the New York Knicks, in breaking news fashion, have decided to part ways with head coach Tom Thibodeau. So the New York Knicks parted ways with coach Tom Thibodeau on Tuesday, just days after the team was eliminated from what was their first Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 25 years. The split came just days after Knicks star Jalen Brunson defended Thibodeau after their loss to the Indiana Pacers in Game 6, which ended their postseason run. Hart and Brunson weren't alone in their praise for Thibodeau either. Actor and noted Knicks superfan Ben Stiller, who was frequently spotted sitting courtside throughout the team's most recent playoff run, thanked Thibodeau for making the Knicks relevant again on social media. The Knicks won 51 games this season and reached the conference finals for the first time since the year 2000. Though they failed to the Pacers, Thibodeau got the Knicks to the playoffs in 4 of his 5 seasons at the helm, and he racked up back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since the early 1990s. Before Thibodeau was hired, the Knicks hadn't made the playoffs in 7 seasons. By all accounts, Thibodeau's time with the Knicks was a success. Apparently, it just wasn't successful enough. Leon Rose says decision was made with winning a championship in mind. So before I dive into the rest, I just want to get my thoughts on the breaking news. Honestly, to me, in my opinion, it's not a shocker. After the question that was shot at Jalen Brunson after Saturday's loss, I kind of figured that something was in the tea leaves, something was going on, because a reporter is not just going to ask you about a coach's future or do you think the coach is the right guy for the job if ramblings haven't been, heard, on their end. My thoughts on it: if I feel as though if they was going to decide to let go Tom Thibodeau, it should have been done maybe after last season. But I think, honestly, this could end up bad for the New York Knicks in their front office, because when you have your star players and other players of the team and people that support the team in a huge fashion backing your head coach, and then you turn around and fire him after, this team has been on the longest run in the playoffs since the year 2000. I mean, that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people in that front office, and also for them players, for that fan base. So I think, honestly, I don't know if this was a panic move by New York, if they jumped the gun and maybe, seeing the way that things went in that Eastern Conference Finals. I felt as though throughout that playoff run that Tom Thibodeau was outcoached. But my only problem with this statement from Leon Rose and him having the backing of James Dolan and everything like that is, you say that, and I'm not going to dive too deep into this topic because it just happened today. I'm pretty sure that more things are going to come out later on this week, but I'm just going to go off of what I know right now. For you to say that this move came with winning the championship in mind, this is why everybody can't get so wrapped up in the moment, because I'm reading things where they're saying that they're going to look for a coach that has more trust in their bench and things of that nature, right? But my thing is this: when the Knicks beat Boston in the second round, you didn't hear nothing about Tom Thibodeau trusting his bench. You didn't hear nothing about the minutes that he had his starters playing. When OG Anunoby got hurt last year and people was complaining about Tom Thibodeau playing this guy's too many minutes, you didn't hear nobody come out and say anything. But now you lose in the Eastern Conference Finals to a good team in Indiana, and you're upset about him not trusting his bench. Now all of a sudden you decide to fire him. And I find it ironic that this just comes days after people they were rumbling saying that the coaching staff and teammates were upset about Karl Anthony Towns' effort on the defensive end. I just find that ironic. I don't know if an ultimatum happened or what could have went on in the front office for them to just abruptly come to this decision after you seen Jalen Brunson have Thibodeau's back. Josh Hart automatically jumped on social media after the situation and thanked Thibodeau. The fans, it's just, I just find it crazy that it just happened like that. Like I said, for me, it wasn't really a shock because I felt as though Tom Thibodeau was outcoached in this Eastern Conference Finals. I've been saying that I felt he should have put more trust in his bench, even though I didn't think the bench was that much up to par for him to have faith in. I mean, Landry Shamet came in and had flashes. Of course, McBride had his flashes, but other than that, it really wasn't too much to have faith in, but I understand. This is not something that I'm really too much shocked by. I just don't like a lot of the quotes that's coming out after the firing, like winning a championship that's why the decision was made, and I just didn't like that. So in my opinion, I don't know, man. This right here could backflip on this front office for New York. Either this could turn out to be completely good, or it could be something that could turn out completely terrible because, when you got your star players backing the coach and you turn around and let that coach go, you don't know how the morale could be now in that building. You don't know what's the conversation in the locker room. You don't know, a lot of things could go on with situations like this. Now, in my opinion, do I think he did? I just don't feel like, I thought, it's not shocking to me that he lost his job, but I think this was the wrong moment. Like, your team is just coming off a loss on Saturday. Their season is over. With everything going on, I just think this was bad timing this quick. Now, if this something that happened maybe later on in the summer, then I would have understood. But for fresh off the loss and then this happened, this either makes me think that they already have somebody in mind that they probably been talking to in the background, or there may have been some underlying issues going on with the front office and Thibodeau. You really never know, but I feel like they maybe already have somebody waiting in the back wings. I don't know who it possibly could be. My guess, if I had to think, maybe Mike Malone is somebody who they probably been covering and talking to, saying that we don't care how far Tibbs take this team. If this season don't end with a championship, he's out of here. That's the idea that I'm thinking, but I could be wrong. But I just feel like with your star player backing them after the game, and you see the outpour of fans upset, and then Josh Hart, I just think that this thing could flip on his head for the New York front office, and they got to be ready and willing to deal with it. So hopefully, this thing ends up being on the right foot. But as of today, Tom Thibodeau was out of a job, and New York got an opening head coaching position. And I'm sure a lot of people, with the team that they got and what they just did this past season, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be interested in that job. Some other notes I got. Knicks owe Thibodeau $30 million plus. He signed a 3-year extension last summer. New York may be looking for a coach who trusts their bench more. Basically what I just said a few minutes ago. But yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, for you to lose your season in and then turn right around and now your head coach is gone. So trust me, things have just begun for the New York Knicks, and this is going to be a very interesting coaching search, and things going to get crazy from here on out, and I can't wait to see how everything unfolds and who becomes the new head coach in New York. Moving on. Speaking of Saturday, speaking of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Indiana Pacers are moving on to the NBA Finals. So I had a question, and I threw it out there on TikTok a couple of days ago, but I like to bring everything to my platform. So my question is that I have, now that the Indiana Pacers have won the Eastern Conference Finals, headed to the second NBA Finals in franchise history, my question is, after the performance that he put on in this Eastern Conference Finals, has Tyrese Haliburton cemented himself as a top 10 player in the NBA currently? So Tyrese Haliburton has averaged 18.8 points, 9.8 assists, and 5.7 rebounds in 16 games in the 2025 NBA playoffs. He's shooting 46.6% from the field and 33.3% from three. So my question to y'all is, because I already got my answer, right? My question to y'all, and I want y'all to put down in the comment section, do y'all feel like Tyrese Haliburton has cemented himself as a top 10 player? Because to me, he has. Somebody got to get their eviction papers. I don't know who it is. That's for everybody else to decide. But Tyrese Haliburton is a top 10 player in the NBA. And also, not only is he a top 10 player, I don't care what Stephen A. Smith say. Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar in this league. We got to understand, when we rate these guys and when we talking about who's a superstar and who are the top players in the league, you got to look at what do these players do for their team in the biggest moments. In the biggest moments, we've seen Tyrese Haliburton step up and play phenomenal. We've seen it not only in the Eastern Conference Finals, we've seen it in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks, we've seen it in the second round against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and now we just seen it in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is the same guy who was voted by his peers the most overrated player in the league. And he turning around and having the season that he's having. All his numbers are up from the regular season. We constantly put these guys in the top 10 or crown these guys, and their teams are constantly going home in the first round or constantly going home in the semifinals, not even making the Eastern Conference Finals. Some of these guys, we crown them and their teams don't even make the playoffs, period. So I'm killing that. Tyrese Haliburton is a top 10 player in the NBA. In closeout games this playoffs versus the Knicks, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 13 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. Versus the Cavaliers, 31 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Versus the Bucks, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. This is what he's doing in closeout games when it mattered the most. Now, I understand Pascal Siakam won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and I think he deserved it. I believe he had 3 games of 30 points in the Eastern Conference Finals. I could be not mistaken, it's 2 or 3, but I believe it was 3. Pascal Siakam was huge in the Eastern Conference Finals, so I'm not even upset that he did get the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I believe Haliburton deserved it, but they gave it to Siakam. I respect it. But what Haliburton has done and what he did in that final game, because he started out slow. And then in the second half, you see he started to get that floater going. Then he started to hit mid-range, and then he extended it out to the three-point line. But what Haliburton, what you've seen from him and what he's done in just these playoffs alone, is no way you could say that you can name 10 players better than him. I just don't feel like you can. Not only is he giving you points, he's giving you assists. He's also giving you steals and blocks on the defensive end. You know, rebounding. He's doing it all. He's doing it all. And I'm tired of other players who haven't even got to this point being crowned as top 10, top 5 players. But then we watch these other guys do things constantly, and you know, they don't even get brought up in certain conversations. We not doing that on this platform. Y'all know the motto. We keep it real over here. Tyrese Haliburton is a top 10 player in this league. Somebody got to get their eviction papers. I see people say Steph Curry. I don't know about that, because we all know what Golden State is when Steph Curry is on the floor. So I still would consider Steph Curry a top 10 player. Jalen Brunson just got outplayed by Tyrese Haliburton. Jalen Brunson might got to get his eviction papers. You know what I'm saying? Is Anthony Davis? I don't know. These are questions, but I want y'all opinion on this. Is Tyrese Haliburton, to y'all, whoever, when this video come out, I want y'all to comment below and let me know. After his performance in the Eastern Conference Finals, has Tyrese Haliburton cemented himself as a top 10 player in this league? All his numbers are up from the regular season. In the regular season, he averaged 18.6 points per game. Playoffs, 18.8. He averaged 9.2 assists in the regular season, 9.8 assists in the playoffs. He averaged 3.5 rebounds in the regular season. He pushed that up to 5.7 rebounds in the playoffs. And that's in 73 games. These are 16. Tyrese Haliburton is playing out of his mind. And I'm going to give him his flowers. And I know everybody try to make him the bid after, he thought that he was going to win the MVP. But it's all good, bro. In my opinion, he deserved it. But they gave it to Pascal. They a phenomenal duo. So I'll take that. But I don't care about the MVP. I don't care about none of that. Tyrese Haliburton is a top 10 player in this league. And I could care less what Stephen A. Smith got to say about him not being a superstar. Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar. You can't say Jalen Brunson is a superstar, but Tyrese Haliburton isn't. Come on now, we got to stop that. We got to stop that. And a lot of them players that voted for Tyrese Haliburton to be overrated, a lot of y'all overrated. Believe me, a lot of y'all overrated. But after what he's doing, and he's headed to the NBA. Oh, and don't let him win the NBA Finals. Don't let him win the NBA Finals, because then a lot of guys going to have question marks by their name out if Tyrese Haliburton go and win the NBA Finals. But that's just what I wanted to throw out there to y'all. In my opinion, he is a top 10 player in this league. But comment below and let me know what y'all think when the episode drop. Do y'all believe that Tyrese Haliburton is a top 10 player in today's NBA? Moving on to the NBA Finals. There's been a lot of chatter. The NBA Finals is set. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Indiana Pacers. And the topic that I came up with and the question that I had is, what percentage chance do I give the Indiana Pacers to upset the Oklahoma City Thunder? And I thought about this, and I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I do have Oklahoma City winning the series. I'm going to let you know. My last topic of the day is going to be predictions. I'm going to let you know what games and why I feel like that. But I do have the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the series. But the question is, which percentage chance do I give the Indiana Pacers? And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I give the Indiana Pacers a 75% chance to upset the Oklahoma City Thunder. I really like this Indiana team. I really do. And a lot of people, this right here, this playoffs right here really show who really watch basketball and who really just, like to keep up with the popular things and all that. Because if you watch Indiana, I picked Indiana to win the New York Knicks series because I've been watching them. They're a fast-paced team. They like to run, the depth, what they can give you on the offense and defensive side when they guys got it going. This is a good basketball team. And a lot of people, I've been hearing a lot of people acting like they don't stand a chance against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And to me, that's not true. They have a veteran head coach who's been there before. They have a young, hungry team that can play hard on both sides of the ball. They're physical. And I think this is going to be a hell of a matchup. I think this is going to be one of the best NBA Finals that we've seen in quite some time. But I'm going to go ahead and read off some of the things I put down, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump back in. So the Indiana Pacers were 0-2 versus the Thunder this season. This is the Pacers' big three stats versus the Thunder this season. Tyrese Haliburton averaged 11 points, 5 assists with 3 rebounds in 2 games versus the Thunder. Pascal Siakam averaged 16.5 points, 9.5 rebounds and 2 assists in 2 games versus the Thunder. And Miles Turner averaged 11.5 points, 8 rebounds and 2.5 blocks in 2 games versus the Thunder this season. Now, Tyrese Haliburton is going to have to step that up. We all know what the Oklahoma City Thunder represent defensively, the number 1 defensive rating team all year and in the playoffs. We know that they're going to try to, make Tyrese Haliburton be a facilitator, which I think, honestly, Tyrese Haliburton likes that. He likes to facilitate. I think his main thing is pass first and score when he has opportunities. But more than likely, Lou Dort will get the assignment on Tyrese Haliburton. Or it could be, what's my man? Caruso. They may get Caruso, but I believe primarily starting out, it probably more than likely will be Lou Dort that'll get that assignment. And we know what he can do, all-elite defender. They're going to try to take Haliburton away. Now, Lou Dort could get the assignment on Pascal Siakam as well, too. See, I didn't even think about that, but Tyrese Haliburton is at least going to have to get that average up to about 20 points a game. I'm going to be honest. He's going to have to get that up to 20 points. Pascal Siakam is going to have to at least get his average up to about 20 points, maybe 23 in this series. But Miles Turner is going to be important. Miles Turner is going to be important for Miles Turner. If somehow you see this video, please, I beg you, please cut down on the 3-point jump shots. If they give you those opportunities, take them. But Miles Turner is going to have to try to punish Chet Holmgren down low. He's going to have to try to punish Chet Holmgren, and he's going to try to have to punish and get Hartenstein in foul trouble or something. You're going to have to go down low, bro. I understand you want to shoot the 3-point shots. If they're available to you, take them. But please do not live and die by that 3-point line. That 11 points for Miles Turner is going to have to at least turn into 15. So you're going to need at least 20 from Haliburton, 20 from Pascal, and at least 15 from Miles Turner. But the most important thing, and it was the same thing that I said in the Knicks series, the most important thing for the Pacers is what you get from Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith. And before I go any further, I want to give a shout out to Andrew Nembhard. Andrew Nembhard was the best player on the floor Saturday night in that closeout game versus the Knicks. For him to be able to give you something on the offensive end, but not even on the offensive end, what he did defensively against Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson probably had his worst game of the series. Not probably. Jalen Brunson did have his worst game of the series on Saturday with the way Nembhard was guarding him 90 feet. He stressed him out. He had Brunson. He was in his head. He had Brunson headbutting him and all types of stuff. Shout out to Andrew Nembhard. He has to play the exact same way he did in that Game 6 the entire series in this finals. I believe he will get the assignment on Shea. They may give it to Nesmith. But both of those guys are going to have to be important in this series, not only on the defensive end, but they're going to have to knock down shots that become available to them on the offensive end. They are going to have to be huge. Defensively, this is something that I wrote down that was written about Andrew Nembhard. Defensively, he's been taking on top assignments since his rookie year and made a significant leap towards being an elite level defender this year. He had 6 steals in Game 6 against the Knicks, and his defense on Jalen Brunson helped the Pacers put the series away. Nembhard is a point guard by trade, so he's operated as a secondary ball handler to allow Haliburton to move off the ball to escape the constant defensive pressure on him. However, he's also a 3-level scorer and tends to become a much better outside shooter in big moments. He averaged 10 points per game in the regular season, but is averaging 12.8 points per game in the playoffs this year after averaging 14.9 points per game in last year's playoffs in the regular season. 14.9 per game in last year's playoffs. In the regular season. He's a 33.5% three-point shooter, but in the playoffs, he's made a remarkable 48.3% of his threes. Andrew Nembhard is going to be important in this series. I don't know what assignment he gets because you do have. I don't know if they decide to put. If I'm Rick Carlisle. After seeing what he did to Jalen Brunson, I'm letting Nembhard guard Shea, and I'm going with that, and I'm allowing Nesmith to guard Jalen Williams, because after the series that he's coming off of, Jalen Williams is going to be feeling confident. So I will put Nesmith on him, but both of these guys are going to be important for Indiana. Knock down their open shots, and they're going to have to be huge on the defensive end. Aaron Nesmith, this is what I wrote down about him. Nesmith has been one of the Pacers' most reliable defenders and shooters, and arguably their most consistent high-effort player since he was acquired from the Celtics in July of 2022. He missed 35 games with a severe ankle sprain this season, but he turned up his game after the All-Star break, averaging 15 points per game on 52.2% shooting. In the postseason, he's just as excellent, averaging 14.1 points per game on 50.3% shooting, including 50% from three-point range. His 8 3-pointers, including 6 in the fourth quarter in Game 1 against the Knicks, provided most of the necessary points for the Pacers' stunning late-game rally. Yeah, he was huge in that Game 1, and he had a very solid series. And honestly, Game 3, I feel like kind of turned on his head when he went out with his injury. But those two, other than the big three, I said what I felt as though Haliburton, Pascal Siakam, and Miles Turner needed to do. But these two, Aaron Neesmith and Andrew Nembhard are going to have to be big in this series because you know what Shea's going to give you. They need somebody that could offset Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. The same thing I said about Minnesota. Their guys didn't step up. Indiana, they have the depth and they have the players that I feel can step up and make big time plays to, offset Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and those other guys. Lou Dort is going to hit a couple of wide open threes, and then those guys that they got coming off the bench. And OKC like to run fast pace too. I think this is going to be a hell of a series, but the main thing and the main reason why I give, and we got to start giving credit to these head coaches, man. The main reason why I give the Indiana Pacers a 75% chance to win this series is because the man on the sideline, Rick Carlisle. Y'all forget, Rick Carlisle has been in this position before. Did we forget 2011? Dallas Mavericks versus the Miami Heat? Miami came in as heavy favorites to win that finals over the Dallas Mavericks. And what happened? Dallas ended up becoming victorious in that series. Rick Carlisle has been here before. He knows what it takes going into the NBA Finals as the underdog. He knows what it takes to come out on top and win these kind of series. Now, people could say what they want, but at the end of the day, head coaching matters. Coaching matters, especially in situations like this, because the Oklahoma City coach, Mark Daigneault, he's never been in a position before, and Oklahoma City has been, this is the biggest stage for all these guys on that Oklahoma City side. Let's be honest. For the coach, for SGA, for Jalen Williams, Chet, this is the biggest stage that they've been on. They've been detonating everybody else except for the Denver Nuggets, but this is a big stage. Rick Carlisle has been here before. He knows what it takes to win. The same kind of team that he had in Dallas, if you remember that 2011 squad, that same kind of team he had then, is kind of similar to now, what he got in Indiana. That is why I give the Indiana Pacers a 75% chance to win this series because of Rick Carlisle. He's a vet. He's been here. I trust him. He knows what to do in certain moments when things get sticky. And the same magical run that the Mavericks went on in 2011, Indiana is on right now. We're witnessing it. And he's the same coach that Dallas had. So that's why I give him 75%, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a quote from Rick Carlisle after the Pacers lost to Oklahoma City in the regular season. When they lost to Oklahoma City Thunder on the road in late March, Carlisle called the Thunder the best team on the planet right now, and the Thunder haven't done anything to change his mind since. They ended the regular season 68-14, posting the 5th most wins in NBA history. They swept their first round series against the Grizzlies, outlasted the Nuggets in a 7-game battle in the Western Conference semifinals, and they dispatched the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games in the Western Conference finals. We understand the magnitude of the opponent, Carlisle said. Oklahoma City has been dominant all year long, with capital letters in the word dominant. Defensively, they're historically great, and they've got all kinds of guys who can score. It's two teams that have similar structures, slightly different styles, but Oklahoma City has played faster this year. I think it has the making of a great series. For me, from a coaching perspective, it's two teams that are fun to watch and are fun to watch compete. Now, 2011 NBA Finals, Mavericks were big underdogs to the Miami Heat while Rick Carlisle was the coach. Remember, I just stated this. Entering the series as heavy favorites, the Miami Heat won the opening game and eventually led the series 2-1 before the underdog Dallas Mavericks won the next 3 games to achieve their first championship in franchise history. The Miami Heat had the odds in their favor heading into the 2011 NBA Finals opposite the Dallas Mavericks. The Heat were a minus 180 to win the series, and the Mavs were a plus 160. The most favored outcome in the series was the Heat in 7 with Miami in 6 right behind it. So like I said, Rick Carlisle has been here before. And it's ironic that 2011 was the first NBA title in franchise history for the Mavericks. I believe it'll be the same thing for the Pacers if they win this time going around. All I'm saying to everybody is don't sleep on this Pacers squad, bro. After what y'all just witnessed them do to the New York Knicks, and I'm not saying that the New York Knicks are as talented as the Oklahoma City Thunder, but after what you just witnessed them do, you can't say that they have no chance at all. With the depth that they have a big three. If their big three step up and they can get something from their others, with that veteran head coach who's been in this position before, going against a young team that has never been in this position, and most importantly, a head coach who's never been in this high of a magnitude of games. Trust me, this series I believe is going to be a lot closer than what a lot of people think, in my opinion. But drop in the comment section below and let me know what y'all think. What percent chance do y'all give the Indiana Pacers on beating the Oklahoma City Thunders in this final series? I can't wait. I'm super excited for this series. I think this is going to be a hell of a series. Two teams I like to watch a lot, and I can't wait, man. I'm super excited. And let's move on. Finally, last but not least, I'm going to just go ahead early and give my NBA Finals prediction. Y'all, I said it already, so y'all know. But now, and this off the head, I don't even need the laptop for this. I went Oklahoma City in 6 games. And the reason why I went Oklahoma City, first and foremost, because I picked Oklahoma City to win the finals early in the year anyway. So I got to stick with what I said. But I just think Oklahoma City is just so talented. With what you get from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you know he's coming out there head hunting. He gonna drop 30 on your head tonight. If Jalen Williams can be that same player he was in the Western Conference Finals, giving you about 20 plus points a game, with Chet giving you 15, and those others, like I said, Lou Dort hitting his open shots. What's my man? I just said his name. I just said his name. Goodness, I ain't gonna stick on it too long, but it's going to come to me. But Hartenstein, you know, if those guys can come off the bench with Wiggins and the number 11, I can't think of his name right now, but if those guys can just come in and make their shots and do what they're supposed to do and continue what they did against Minnesota, I just think it's a tough ask. I just think that it's tough. And for me, the main two things are going to be what happens in game 1 and game 2, because I always say game 1 is the most important game of the series because it's the tone setter. It's the tone setter. I feel like that if Oklahoma City goes up 2-0 and wins both at home, I'm confident that they can sneak one in Indiana. But I'm going to be honest, if Oklahoma City goes back to Indiana 2-0, then I think the series is going to be over fairly quick. In order for Indiana to actually be able to stand a chance, I feel like they have to sneak one in OKC. But I'm going to go OKC in 6 just because they're so talented. What those other guys can give you outside of SGA, and it's about their big three. Jalen Williams, Shai, and Chet. And actually, I thought I didn't need the laptop no more, but I actually do. And speaking on why, this is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaged 39 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds in 2 games versus the Pacers. Jalen Williams averaged 19 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds in 2 games. And like I said, I just feel like if Chet can be the same player he was in the finals that he was in the Western Conference Finals, I just think it's going to be very tough for Indiana. But I do give Indiana a shot, and I believe that the series is going to be a lot better than what people think it is. But though that's my prediction. I went OKC in 6 games. Y'all let me know in the comment section what's your prediction. This episode will be out before the first game, so everybody will be able to let their predictions and things be known before the game. And even if you do it after the game, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Just interact in the comment section and let me know what y'all think. I really forgot the player name who I was just talking about. His name slipped my mind, but it's all good. It'll come back to me probably once the camera's off. But this is episode 49, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate y'all for locking in with me each and every week. Y'all know what I need from y'all. Smash that subscribe button. We are on our way to 300 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like this video. Also, like and share it when the content drops. Follow me on all social media platforms. I appreciate the love I've been getting from TikTok, Instagram, man, and you know I'm grateful for it all. And y'all know next episode is gonna be a very special one for me. I don't know what I want to do. I kind of been thinking, it probably ain't gonna be nothing too over the top because we still got ways to go. This is just the beginning, but next episode will be a milestone. I will hit 50 episodes, and that's crazy because when I first started this, I never thought I'd be able to make it to no 50 episodes, but here we are. We one episode. The next episode will officially make it 50 episodes in the book, and I appreciate everybody who been locking in with me since I started this journey. You know, I still got things to learn, and trust me, just stick with me, and things are going to just keep growing and keep getting better and better, but I need y'all to just keep rocking with me. None of this would be possible without, you know what I'm saying, my supporters and people who rock with me each and every time I drop, or, you know, send it to your phone or whatever. I know sometimes it can get a little annoying, but it's all good. I appreciate you. For those that do rock with me, I appreciate it, man, and I see y'all next week. 50 episodes. This 49, but next week will be 50, man, and I can't wait. I appreciate y'all, and I see y'all next time.